Dating today feels exhausting. Not because we don't meet people, but because nothing seems to land. Connections start, conversations fade, and somewhere along the way, it stops feeling exciting and starts feeling heavy. Hi y'all, it's Renee here. How you guys doing? I've had a rough week, I have to confess. The week was full of work and the weekend was jam-packed with social things, which I guess I should be happy for, but I confess to y'all that I'm somewhat exhausted. However, I do have an iota of energy. If that's correct or not, I don't know. I'm not a physicist, scientist, whatever, but I'm going to go ahead and do this podcast. Makayla's not around. She's at a convention, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and go on with this podcast. All right. And it's about the dating world today. And let's go. Let's get into it. So basically, dating today is tough. And it's not because there are too few people. You know, when we think about the planet, how many people are on the planet? Sorry if I'm a little off, but isn't it like 8.5 billion? I mean, I believe the most populated country today is India. Used to be China, but I think it's now India, right? So, but regardless, there's still people spread all over the world. So there's too many people. I mean, 8.5 billion. If you folks think that back in the, I think it was the 40s, there were, let's say, 2.5 billion. I mean, from 2.5 to 8.5. Again, the ciphers might not be exact, but it's a rough estimate. Man, that is a jump and a half. Well, I'm not even being mathematically accurate. Okay, but 2 by 4, basically. So that means there are too many options. And through those too many options, there are too many casual chats, perhaps too many connections that start really vaguely and with no real blueprint or plan to last, right? Sorry guys, I need some water. Nothing like water. Let's not run out of that, shall we? I mean drinkable water. Anyhow, it's getting back on track. You know, a lot of options, casual chats, and connections, as I said earlier. But most of them, well, there's no real plan to make it last. So basically, that is equivalent to a waste of time, unless you become good friends. Friendship is valuable, of course. A good friend is hard to come by these days. So if you find one, even if you try to date them first, I'm saying first, not afterwards, you know, keep the good friend, right? But if it's just a date, that's really after maybe 2 or 3 dates not going anywhere. It's like, well, unless you want to have casual relationships throughout your life, and that's valid too, folks. Many people want that. fluidity. They want to flow with absolutely everything. They want to avoid too much stress. And there are people like that, and there are people who are happy with that. But many of us aren't. Here I'm including myself, but I mean, there are people that just want to flow with it. It's like, oh, I dated this person, it was great. They had to leave. I let them go. No fighting. They just had to move on somewhere else because of their job, because of this and that. And I just let it flow. And then somebody else came along and same thing. There are people like that. And sometimes they're very, very happy. That's what I'm saying. One has to have it's not an open mind. It's a mind that allows you to appreciate different situations. But at the same time, you have to be aware of what you, as an individual, want, right? If you want to flow with it the whole time, and that's how you feel, and that makes you feel good, you know what? Go for it. I say this from my heart. Because that's what you like. That's what brings you joy. But if you're a person who wants to have a somewhat more solid romantic relationship, well, then don't go for it. Because it's not going to match your criteria. Because you're going to think everything feels replaceable if you're in a relationship like that. And guess what? It will be. The stone will carry the stone. The plant will carry the plant. The doggy will carry the doggy, and the lover will carry the lover. So that's not for you if you don't want that, and that's valid too, right? This is where you have to be true to thine self. Okay? Be true to yourself. Don't be a sheep. Don't say, hey, well, my friend Fred, he loves, relationships that just flow and dwindle off into nothingness, and then he starts again and he's very happy. I'm like Fred. No, maybe you're like Mark. Mark is intense and wants to feel passion with that one person and wants to find that connection with that one person. And both are correct. And there's somebody else that might switch back and forth, but that's valid too, as long as you know what you want. And you say, I can't handle this up and down or being waverly, right? That's not for me. But maybe somebody else is waverly and says, that's fine for me. That's ideal. You see? So yeah, this business of everything feels replaceable for us who want something more stable, well, that really isn't doable. Doesn't make you feel good. And at the same time, if you are a person who's fearful of relationships, then when you finally decide to engage in one, obviously with a person who's also interested in you, then you get to the stage, depending on who you are, where maybe choosing someone might feel to you like, okay, I'm choosing this person because I am this way. I am a faithful person. When I'm in a relationship, I want emotional stability. But my question is this the right person? They seem to want it too, but is this the right person? And some of us might be thinking, no, hold on, this might not be the right person, even though they have the same criteria, but maybe I'm closing off better possibilities, and that happens too. I do know a case where a young woman, she had a very devout boyfriend. He didn't meet all her criteria, I think, intellectually. Sorry, guys, I'm very thirsty today. I'm having to drink lots of water because I've got a bit of a sore throat, but okay. This girl, smart girl, attractive, and she did get a boyfriend. And the boyfriend, in my opinion, was attractive too, slightly older, but not as sharp as she was and is, right? And I think she knew that at the time. I don't know if now, but she was in a situation where she wanted to make absolutely sure that she was picking the right person. And so, well, one of her friends said, I'm going to go off on holiday to such and such a beach, and some friends from another country are coming over. Want to come? And she said, with or without my boyfriend? And the friend said, well, obviously without, because the friend, a good friend, not trying to destroy anything, just trying to be a good friend, saying, hey, there are options, And, well, she went for it. And she got to the place, the resort, whatever. And she went in with a singles mind. Not to cheat, but to mingle, to see if maybe she was missing out on something. And guys, this is not, I'm not condemning or condoning it, but I get it, because she wasn't out to cheat. Cheating blinds you. Cheating doesn't give you any clarity at all. Let me make that clear. No, here it was to see if perhaps before she decided to fully commit to the other person through marriage, that maybe she was missing out on somebody more compatible. A little bit like those dating shows, blind date, yada, yada, yada.
Looking for real conversations about love, connection, and everything in between? Listen to Love Hacks. Honest, heartfelt, and in 4 languages: English, Espanol, Francais, and Portuguese. Find your version wherever you get your podcast. See you soon.
And I think she did right in doing that. Again, she wasn't cheating. Yeah, she didn't tell the guy, hey, by the way, I'm going to meet other guys. To avoid, and some people are going to hate on me for this, and some people will be like, yeah, I agree. It was to see if maybe there might be more in common with somebody else. Okay. And I do agree that if you feel you're not fully satisfied and you don't want to hurt the person, again, it's not to go and cheat. It's not Love Island. That's ridiculous. It's, okay, I've been given this opportunity. I don't want to hurt my partner. I'm going to go mingle. I'm going to play fair. Okay. And if I feel doubtful without acting on cheating, I should then reconsider, take a step back and think, okay, I'm not in the situation I want. There's no such thing as a perfect situation, but if I'm doubting my own partner because I'm attracted or find somebody else more interesting, and I'm not saying they're better, folks, okay? I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you have to clear all doubt. When you take that step, and now I'm talking about true commitment, aka also in most cases ends up as marriage, okay? Not always, but it ends up in, hey, let's live together, right? So that's not, hey, I'll see you on Friday. No, that's seeing somebody every day. Hey, let's share a bathroom. Blah, blah, blah. And that becomes complicated too. So what I'm getting at is it's okay if you have doubts and you have the opportunity to go out. It's okay to talk with other people. Not to go and cheat, not to go and hurt, but to clear your mind. It's like that movie 500 Days of Summer. The girl was never convinced of the guy. He was convinced of her, but she wasn't of him. And you feel bad for him, but you can't engage in a relationship out of pity. Because in the long run, you're going to get screwed. Pity is not a bargaining card. Hey, you know, my spouse died, and I really am attracted to you, or hey, you know, my spouse left me, and I'm so very miserable, but I'm a good guy, or I'm a good girl, and I need somebody to, and I want to share this with you. No. Careful with that, because that's emotional, not blackmail, but it's a way of coercing. And the minute they feel they have the power, I'm not saying everybody, but there are many cases where they get the power, where they gain the person's trust, and eventually the person even becomes attracted to them, and then kaboom, then they switch. They're like, now the person is in my hands. Well, guess what? Now I'm going to abuse him or her. Now I'm going to behave badly because I've gotten their full trust. Now they're under my control. And sorry, folks, but it does happen quite a bit. And that's why pity is not a bargaining chip. Okay? Don't fall into that. Be like, you know, I feel so bad for you. Let's talk it over, some coffee and in a public place, but don't let yourself get sucked in by a pity party. Because they're very convincing. Same with the person doing drugs. Oof, they're the best convincers of all. Oh, you know, my life was so hard. You know, they'll give you a whole I'm generalizing, obviously, folks, but yeah, it was terrible, and my parents were horrible, and that's why I lacked love, and help me, and you're so wonderful, and before you know it, you're in a relationship with that person who might still have a substance issue, for example. And then you're stuck with the person, you know, there are many, it's not just anything. So again, no pity party. Now, I'm going to get back on track. Okay, remember, no pity party, but there's more to this episode than meets the eye. So let me go on further, okay? Now, you as a person, if you tend to be very, very empathic or empathetic, I never know if it's empathic or empathetic. I think we can use both. You know, somebody who can relate, who puts themselves in the shoes of the other. You got to be careful. You got to be careful, because many will, sorry about my cough. Many will try to get you in a position where you're going to start feeling like, if you start to really feel for this person and you're very empathic, you might go from, is this good for me, to how am I messing this up? Or how can I not mess this up? You see the shift in thought. Is this good for me? Like this guy works 16 hours a day, lives with his mother, and his ex-girlfriend is constantly calling him. Is this good for me? And right there, I mean, the cards I just threw at you are really not favorable, right? I'm not saying they're the worst, but come on. But if you're that empathic, you're going to go from, is this good for me, to, how do I not mess this up? Oh, he works all those hours. Okay. Well, he works all those hours. I'll take his calls at 3 o'clock in the morning. He's in so much, labor pain, like he's not giving birth, obviously, but, he works so hard and everything, and he lives with his mother. Well, I'm going to do my best to make his mother happy so that she's always happy and he's happy and we're all happy. And I'm going to make myself fully available because he can only see me 2 hours on the weekend, but he doesn't know at what time. You see? So how are you going to have a weekend if you don't know at what time he's going to decide to show up? And he's only going to be there for 2 hours. You see? No. If you work or if you don't work, your weekend is your weekend, right? But a lot of us, to not lose a person we think has potential, we quiet our needs, we downplay red flags, and we say, oh my God, it's just too early to feel weird. Not because we don't know what we want, but again, because we're afraid to lose whatever it is we've got. And sometimes that whatever it is breadcrumbs. Maybe my head is somewhere else, but breadcrumbs in the gutter. I mean, not even birds go for that. And yet, if we're afraid of losing a mediocre to pretty much non-existent relationship, we're willing to sacrifice our time and effort because we're afraid of losing this thing, which is often less than mediocre. And why do we do it? Because we're afraid. We have fear. And what that does in turn, we're here expecting breadcrumbs based on or made out of fear. And simultaneously, we miss out on far better opportunities. And this fear that we've got makes us settle. And that word is so terrible, settle. Makes us settle for something less than we deserve. And that, my friends, is where the imbalance starts. You see how tricky it is? So, yeah, and then, well, as the imbalance manifests itself or becomes far more noticeable, well, obviously we try to fix it. So then we start overcompensating. So then we even push further and we become way too available. Like if the guy says or the girl says, I've got a terrible schedule. Can I see you on Wednesday at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m.? And you have to get up and work. Let's say you have to be at work at 7:30, 8 o'clock. But you really want to see this person. You're going to be like, okay. So you're constant. And then a few days later, you know what, I can only see you at 3 in the afternoon, and you're working elsewhere, and then you're like, okay, let me think of a way of giving an excuse to go and see you. So you try to adjust constantly. Also, if this person starts, bellowing over an ex, oh my God, she broke my heart. She was so heartless and terrible, and I just feel miserable. And this is like the third date, and you're like, oh honey, it's okay. I'm here for you. You can count on me 24/7. You're offering your emotional support way too soon. I mean, no psychiatrist is going to do that. You can call me at 4 a.m. I'll be there for you. But I'll be there for you. The song supposed to happen after a long relationship, right? No, here it's after the third date. And you also make a ginormous effort to prove your worth to this person. Like if the person said, you look great, but you could lose with a few less pounds. And then you're like, yeah, I'm going to get there. So you go to the gym, or you go to Pilates Reformer, or whatever it is. You go on a starvation diet to get to look like what the person sort of not glorifies, the person finds as ideal. But the person might be bald and have a pot belly, right? But you're making all this effort to show them you can do it, and you can be the hottest you've ever been because of them. Do it for yourself, not for them. Okay? So, and also the fact that you start to give in to their every beck and call. Like, let's say you have a party. Let's say you're invited to one of your friends' birthday parties, and she says, my party is going to be so amazing. It's going to be in a limousine. There's going to be champagne, and we're going to go out on the town. It's going to be amazing. And then your boyfriend says, hey, what about me? What about me? Why are you going in a limousine on Friday evening when you can be with me? Well, because it's my friend. No. Who comes first? Me or your friend? Like in that tone. And you say, no, love. Do you love me? If you love me, you're not going to go on in that limousine. Oh my. That person that does that to you is a selfish bitch. I don't care if she's a woman or a man. I don't care. I'm using bitch for male and female here, okay? But they're using emotional blackmail also, making you feel guilty for going to something that is being held by a good friend of yours. There's really no danger. And the person makes you feel bad. That is a major red flag. Okay, because relationships are built on trust and happiness. Happiness is not a constant, but when we see our partners happy, that is supposed to make us happy, not the other way around. Anybody who wants to see you miserable, run, okay? Run. And, well, how is it you're going to change if this is starting to happen? If it's already happening and has been happening for a long time, well, then you really have to analyze a lot. But if it's just starting, you can set your boundaries. And you can state what you want with kindness. And by keeping the invitation open. And if they can't accept your normal conditions. Don't be a diva either, okay? But your normal human conditions, like, hey, you know, at Sundays I go out with my family, all right? I can't see you. Or, hey, you know, if we live together, we can share expenses, or you do this, I do that, or, you know, negotiating all the time in a healthy way. If they don't step toward it, like if they say things like, hey, no, hey, you're the woman, you got to wash everything, or hey, you're the man, you got to fix everything here. I ain't going to do squat, and I'm not interested because you're the man. Or I ain't going to do squat because you're the woman. You should wash and iron without complaint. Well, then, if they don't step towards, hey, you know what? I don't know how to iron, but I want to learn because I think we should split it. Or, hey, I don't know much about short circuits, but just, even if I don't become an expert, just let me know, you know, because I think it's important to be able to keep my house safe. If the partner, either way, doesn't take interest or blows you off, then you take a step back and you say, okay, in this case, I'm about to live with this person under the same roof. And they're not interested in normal house issues. And I'm not saying they have to be experts, but they're not even interested in learning a bit. Or they're not interested in you know, normal rest hours, like, hey, don't keep the TV on all night long when you know damn well I have to get up and work. And so do you, but you're a vampire and I'm not. Things like that, little things like this. When you live with someone, I mean, dating is a bit different because you're not living with them, but still you can check some red flags. Like, for example, if you go to a restaurant, and I mean, I'm going back to straight dating. If you go to a restaurant, yes, the traditional role is that the guy pay, but these days it depends on the country, the tradition, whatever. And if you go to a restaurant and you're both hard up, and your, in this case, boyfriend says, yeah, let's go to this amazing restaurant, Le Fufu or whatever. Sorry, I should have picked a better name. And then the bill comes in, he says, oh, I don't have enough money. And you say, well, how much do you have? I can put the rest. I mean, this is an emergency. No, I don't have anything. But you knew we were coming to this restaurant. Yes, but I don't have anything. Right there, you know, he just got a free lunch or dinner, and you're going to have to foot the bill. You want that? Or vice versa. A woman, I've seen videos of these ladies going to seafood restaurants with guys, and they'll order a lobster platter. Lobster, as we all know, is not cheap. And they'll eat it, and they'll be like, well, see you later. Hey, this platter was $300. Oh, well, I can't pay for it. I mean, we agreed you're taking me on a date. No. These sorts of relationships, doomed for disaster. So use your criteria, right? If you're going to go on a first date, go to a public place that's not terribly expensive, just in case. I would say a cafe. All right? And keep your feet on the ground, okay? Don't think that the person in front of you is royalty or Prince or Princess Charming, because they're not. They're human. Maybe they're nice humans. They still have their flaws. Maybe they're not so nice humans, and they'll take advantage of you if you're a dimwit, okay? And finally, never negotiate your self-respect, okay? And this is really hard. I mean, a lot of people are going to say easier said than done. Well, I'm going to tell you, it's very hard in the sense, like, if the person stands you up several times, If they always have something else to do when they've planned something with you, if they don't value your time, then they are disrespecting you 150%. And that's a big no-no. And as much as it pains you, you better drop a person who's not going to respect your time and the way you feel because of that time wasted. And I do emphasize time because, once again, money comes and goes, but time, you can never buy it back. And the older you get, you're going to see that. Time wasted is time lost forever, at least in this dimension. Okay? It's not going to come back. So that's a big, if that person does not respect your time, you better walk away. And yeah, this is all part of dating today, and yeah, dating in the past. Anyhow, I hope, guys, you enjoyed this podcast, and I'm with you, and it is tough, but keep your head high and your feet on the ground. All right? I wish you all a great week. Take care, and may the force be with you. Bye.